Hello everyone, my name is Gregor Schill and I'm a coach and test driver for the Coach Dave Academy. Today I'll guide you around Bahrain in the Toyota hypercar. So, before we start our quick lap, we should always think about getting the best possible exit out of the last corner, because if we already prepare the exit really well, we'll already gain a couple of hundreds, maybe even a tenth, depending on if you already do that or not, on a flying lap. So what we want to do here, especially on Bahrain, it's important to just take a wider swing, so you're able to go earlier on the throttle and exit the last corner as quick as you can. Now, as we start our flying lap, it's important that we focus on our braking marker as early as we can, and for turn 1 in this case it's the 150 meter board. We try to brake exactly when we essentially have it in our, or on the left side of our windshield, basically like that. That's already a bit far, so we go slightly back. So here, that's basically where we start to brake. So this makes actually the braking for turn 1 pretty easy, because we have like the perfect reference point. And it's fundamental that for turn 1 we try to stay in a straight line as long as possible. So as a small tip, follow the white line as long as you can, because if you turn in earlier, what happens essentially is you will make the turn 1 hairpin even more tight than it needs to be, right? So this is why it's crucial to have a late turn in and a late apex. So you stay along of parallel to the white line as you can, and then you turn in, can cut slightly the apex curve. Then, in order to get turn 2 flat, it's really necessary that you don't run too wide on the exit of turn 1. So you want to do a compromise here, so you can take turn 1 flat, turn 2 flat. And what helps you with that is, if we quickly go out of in the third person view, you can cut here a lot. So as long as your outside tires are on the white line, that's fine. On the exit here, you can use as much as you want, essentially. Just be careful again. The white line is the track limit, so if we reverse here again, if you drive like that over here, this might be an off track depending on the delta lap you have. And those 3 corners essentially are sector 1. So as it's really crucial to get those right in order to get a quick lap time, let's have again a look in delta, how we can basically approach the section. So here in delta, what we need to see here first, of course, is the braking, right? So we start to brake initially at 100%, because we have all the aerodynamic helping us to basically get the grip that is necessary to brake that hard. And as we reduce speed, of course, we need to also already start trailing off the brake, as we don't essentially have the same grip as we had when we started to brake initially. And when our turning in point arrives, you see the brakes, or the braking trace, also reduces rapidly as we need the grip for turning. And if we jump now quickly into the driving tab, you see really nicely how long we essentially wait till we start the turn in. So this is what I wanted to point out to you. Really try to be patient, wait for the turn in, because this will allow you to compromise the exit much easier. So it's honestly so much easier to bring the car here over to the right side, or position it in the middle of the road, so your turn 2 is basically easily flat out. And that's the target, because if you're not able to take turn 2 and then also of course turn 3 flat, this will cost you a lot of lap time. So what you need to do is, as I said, really do a late turn in turn 1, think about the exit to not run too wide, and then you will have easily a flat out turn 2 and of course turn 3. Now we have a bit of a break, but as you know, guys, we already try to think always ahead and watch where we want to go. So when we're already here on a straight, we try to aim for our braking marker, and in this case it's the tarmac strap you see here after the 150 meter board. So when we arrive there, that's where we brake, again parallel to the white line as long as we can, because this corner closes up on the exit, so we need to take a later apex. But now, really important, if you would watch basically the track layout from the top, you wouldn't see the camber of the road, right? So what happens is, we need to put now also the banking or the camber of the road into account how we pick the driving line. So this essentially forces us to take a slightly earlier entry. We still try to aim for a late apex, but because of the banking, we need to basically do a slightly earlier entry. So we turn in, and you see also here really well the banking. Cut a lot here, and when you position the car like that, let me reverse it quickly. You know that you position it perfectly because you see you are in the banking, you open up the corner nicely because of the late apex, and then you can run nicely wide here and maximize the track on the exit. Now, one of the hardest parts on this track for me personally, the quick chicane or the quick S here, and how do we approach it? So first of all, we always want to open up the corner as much as possible. So what we try to do here is we cut as much as the track limit allows us here over the curb, and then crucially, this is what I found out, it gains you a chunk of time if you essentially cut a lot also from this curb, so like that basically, because the car gets pulled around if you drive like that over it, and if you don't do it, you will need to slow down massively for this section, so definitely do that. So basically it looks like that. So we are still in the track limit because our outside tires are on the left side of the white line, and the same applies us also here for the left-hander. We want the cut here also as much as we can, just because it helps us to pull the car around. Be careful to run not too wide here because you can bottom out. As soon as you reach the exit, make sure to get the car as quickly turned as possible and aim here for the Goodyear sign. When it disappears, that's when we brake, and really try to brake here in a straight line because you need basically no steering, so you can really be confident under braking. As soon as you have any steering lock applied, you will get a lockup and you will mess up your lap. So definitely watch out for the straight line braking. And then as soon as we start to turn in, we need to reduce the brake gradually. Also, it's a bit more difficult in this corner because it gets downhill. So we trail till the apex. And then as soon as we reach the apex, we try to floor the car and open the steering. Don't run here too wide because you see the curb isn't flat, so you can essentially lose a chunk of time if the TC kicks in. And this section is it's just fundamental to get it right, to get a quick lap time, as I said. And let's have a quick look again in Delta, how we can essentially approach the section. So this is the area we talked about essentially. Let's mark it quickly. And look onto the driving tab first, so we have the right racing line. So as you see, as we approach here, we cut as much as we can, slightly under the brakes. You see, we don't really brake even here at that half. Why? Because we have a lot of steering going on at the same time, so we don't want to essentially lock up the tire. Then on the power at the apex, and then we try to keep it flat here, and that's only possible because, as I said, we cut as much as we can, which helps the car to pull around. Then here, as soon as we reach the exit, straight steering, brake in a straight line, be confident, trail early on the power, maximize the track, be careful with the exit of course to not cut as much, and then you're done with that difficult section. Also, if we look again into the data tab, you see really well how important the trail braking is, for example in the hairpin. If I wouldn't do that, if I would just stay slightly longer at some stage on the brake pedal, I would instantly lock up. So always watch out for essentially the correlation between brake pressure and steering angle. So this can help you a lot in this corner, because if you aren't able to brake as hard as I am, mostly it's because you don't have a straight steering. Now we essentially approach the most famous double left-hander for Bahrain, and it's a pretty tough corner, but I think with this tip it will get a lot easier. So of course we try to open up the corner as much as we can, and I always struggle to find a braking point, but the braking point is actually closer than you think, and it makes the corner a whole lot easier. So it's the white line here, so when you pass that, you start to brake, and you essentially brake through the first apex, try to maximize the track here on the exit, because that's where it counts. You want to open up now the exit of this tight left-hander as much as you can, so you have the best possible exit. It doesn't matter if you lose a bit of time here at that part, but if you're still able to position the car perfectly for the exit, you will gain much more time than you would gain if you just go quicker into the entry and then sacrifice your exit. So really late apex here. Use the banking again, cut a lot of the curb, and on the power. Be careful here on the exit with the curbing. It's pretty rough, so you will engage the TC a lot, so just stay rather away from it. Now for the left-hander, we try to position our car as much as we can on the right side, and we can even use in some cars the curb here. And braking point wise, it's also pretty easy. If I reverse it quickly, you will see what I mean. So as you approach here the left-hander, you start to brake just after you position the car on the curb in a straight line. Then you can also turn here in a bit earlier than you think, because you have again the banking helping you. Cut a bit of the inside apex here and run wide so you can maximize the traction. For the following quick right-hander, you try to bring the car as much on the left as you can. Already quite an earlier turn and in point again, because we have the banking to help you out. You can also, like in the quick S, cut a bit more aggressively here the corner so the car gets pulled around, which will reduce the lifting phase. And then it's flat till the entry for the next corner. And here it's fundamental to not drive like that on the exit and start to brake, because as you see, with different types of grip levels here, because we have on the right side of the curb, we have the normal tarmac, then we have the curb, and then this, Astro, which has a sand color, right? And if you start to brake from here into the corner, you will get a loose rear most of the time, and it's really risky. Like 1 out of 10 times it can work, but in terms of consistency, I wouldn't try to do that lap after lap, essentially. Braking point wise, we want to aim for the Avis sign, and you will see it just right now here on the right here. That's your braking marker. So as soon as we have it basically out of our windshield, we start to brake. What I would advise you, if you want to use a bit more road on the entry, you can try to use the red and white curb, but not more. Here again, really important, late apex, don't turn into early. So when you reach here the apex, you can go aggressively on the power and run wide and have a really strong exit. For the last corner, it's again, if you don't have a reference point, pretty tough, but what I recommend you personally, you will see here on the bottom left, right? Here, you have the basically the last orange color before the 100-meter board. Here, that's where we start to brake. Again, in a straight line. Then we start to trail brake into the corner, and here, really crucial, you can cut more than you think, so you definitely can take a good chunk of the apex curb here on the inside. So, that's it for the guide. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you're wondering now how a quick Hotlap looks around this track, make sure to watch the video till the end. Other than that, I thank you for tuning in, and I see you in the next one. Bye bye.